Welcome back to Two C's with a pod. Just us this week, buddy. That was fun last week, but I got to be honest. I like seeing your screen, big screen.
Oh,
Not
thank you.
not having to share, real estate with all those other people. But
That's
huge
true.
shout out to our friends for joining in. That was a ton of fun. Mike from Valdosta making his first appearance. Our friend at Lildonsky.
Yeah.
Long time. That was great to have her in, and then Matt May and Matt May's balls. So
Yeah. There was again. We need to do like a Zoom tutorial for some folks before they. Yeah, we should have spent a little time with my friend and really, sat down and said, "Hey, this is how not to show your balls on YouTube."
Yeah. Well, we had subtly suggested to him. He's putting out his YouTube videos with his music and good sound, good songs, but we have offered, hey man, we've got some microphones. Hey man, we've got some tripods. We can help you out.
It's true. It's true. And like pre-COVID, there was long line of plans to do that, and then it never happened, and then COVID happened, and then it's like sharing microphones is a little less of a fun game. Yeah.
Well, true, but we can also share with him where we got our microphones, where we got the tripods. I mean, I think for less than $50, we can have him sounding. Because he's got a great voice.
Oh, yes. Oh, 100%. Yeah. I actually took mine off today because my headphones are bothering me. I think like wearing headphones so much these last few weeks has kind of got my I don't know. I needed to give my ears a break.
Well, maybe if I can see you on your birthday, I'll get you some really good Beats by Dre headphones. The nice over the ear.
You don't do that. But no, I do need to. These are, I know these are the ones you gave me still. So the only fact that I have these very nice ones is I think it's not the quality again. It's just the amount I've worn them because I'm doing all those Zoom classes. I'm doing Zooms with my dad. We pulled that off, that frustration of figuring out, old people Zooms. Old people Zooms are always interesting because they're similar to Matt May Zooms, where you get really weird angles and it takes them a while to really kind of figure out the buttons and whatnot. So I've been doing
How often do you see the ceiling fan and the light for the ceiling fan?
A lot.
Just shooting it right up the nostril, right up the.
Definitely, a lot of this too, like. Right. Yeah. A lot of that stuff that we can do now because it's not. We're now visual instead of just an audio podcast here. So
there was we had one of those at church, and one of our older deacons was trying to get on. And I literally wrote on a piece of paper and just held the paper up. I can't hear you. It says your audio hasn't joined issues. Next thing you know, hey, what's going on? I can hear you.
Yes, I've had to do that with a fourth grader once, also to get them on. So I think it's interesting the intersection between people that are over 60 and people that are under 10. I have a lot of the same experiences explaining the same things to them.
So you were talking about headphones. Speaking of headphones,
okay.
Did you watch The Last Dance?
I need more time with that. I'll tell you, I haven't spent a lot of TV time lately. And that's something I need to get back into, and maybe this is a good excuse to do it. I don't think I was in the right headspace to do that because every moment of Michael Jordan, there's a level of, it's less than it used to be, but it definitely infuriates me. So I have to be careful how much I watch of that.
Yeah, see that when I watched it Sunday, it took me back to the 90s. I think that I think we need to revisit our Bird Jordan episode because, like, I think we were a little soft. I think time had worn on, and we were just kind of like, yeah, they're good. And then, like, I'm watching it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is a reminder of why this guy was great. And for you, it's probably a reminder of, like, oh, yeah, I hate this guy. Dude, the funniest thing I saw, though, the reason I was saying headphones, they were showing Jordan as a rookie walking into the stadium. And, like, now we see all the NFL players walk in. They've got their headphones on, it's part of their – Jordan was walking in, had the old school Walkman with the little foam. I was like, incredible. Oh man, those are great. Hey, did you see that tweet that was going around viral of so did you watch any of it or no?
I saw clips. Okay, so I saw clips probably similar on Twitter and things, and I saw the little teaser that they ran where he almost ran a poor human being over in the parking lot. Like, I couldn't figure out that clip. Did you see that clip?
No.
Yeah, I tweeted that out. I couldn't figure out. I thought you actually.
There was something where he was. Like signing an autograph for a kid.
Was driving in his Corvette. He pulled into I believe it's like the Bulls practice facility. He's going about 85 to 90 miles an hour in this little parking area. This guy is walking across the parking lot, has to like run and jump to keep from getting ran over by Jordan. And then Jordan like pulls into a not a parking spot, just like in the middle of the parking area, gets out and walks into the gym.
Well, I do remember that, but I don't remember some guy almost getting hit. But
it's okay. Yeah, it's like you can barely see it, and again, it's almost like a Rorschach test of like. That's so funny because I wonder if again that has like a psychological effect of like, because I am always looking for the bad in Jordan, right? Like I'm always and my feeling is, and what I hear is that I'll get enough of that. Like I'll get enough of like why people hated him and why kind of he was not the greatest guy in the world.
So it will be interesting to compare and contrast that because like there's some parts in there where he's chewing out like Ron Harper in practice and chewing out like Luke Longley or some of these other players. And I think some people, like, I think depending on your vantage point and your perspective, like I'm looking at it going like, that's a damn good teammate right there, man. He's just trying to bring these guys up. Where somebody that doesn't like him is like, what a fucking asshole. So I think that's your perspective. I think that's just going to be a perspective of, do you gravitate towards hey, I like Jordan, or do you gravitate towards I hate him? So but the thing I wanted to ask you about, and we'll get started with our the world famous Ask Us Anything, because people love those. Did you see the clip? Did you see the part about Scottie Pippen talking about holding off his surgery? So at the end of the 97 season, Scottie Pippen needed to have surgery on his foot. He opts not to do it in the summer, and he does it like right as the season's starting. And one of the key tenets was that Scottie Pippen was like the 6th highest paid player on the Bulls, 122nd highest paid player in the NBA. He'd signed this like 8-year contract in '92, and they made him stick to it. So he got like, signed a 6-year, $18 million contract or whatever, and they didn't renegotiate when he was, one of the best 5 players in the league or whatever. And so he was a little upset about that, and so he doesn't play. Well, there's this clip going around of these people going, me to coronavirus, and all it is Scottie Pippen going, I wasn't going to fuck up my summer. It's like the funniest thing, man. Just, I ain't gonna fuck up my summer. It's like me to coronavirus.
Right. Yeah. No. I did see. Where there's just a lot of his disrespect he kind of got from the Bulls organization, and just the agent and him working out their contracts and things. So it is kind of interesting to see the inner workings of the business side.
Yeah, and I think that the only thing is, I was talking to my buddy Neil about it, and he's like huge Bulls fan, just like I was. And he was talking about like, man, I didn't know they all hated Jerry Krause and all this. And I was like, oh yeah, it was pretty well known. I said, but here's the thing, something Jordan throughout his entire career has always wanted to do, control the narrative. So of course Jerry Krause is gonna, and then here's the thing, it's Jordan's documentary. Jordan's gonna control the narrative. Also, Jerry Krause is dead, so we don't get to hear from Jerry. We don't get to hear Jerry Krause's side, right? We don't get to see Jerry Krause sit down, one of those chairs and tell, well, hey, here's why I didn't do this. Here's what, we don't get to see that.
It's really a bizarre take. I mean, I think as someone is kind of like a neutral person, who goes like, if you won 6 titles, how does the GM of somebody, of the team or something like that won 6 titles somehow become a villain or like a incompetent?
It's because he wanted to break the team up. He was ready to move on from Phil Jackson. Like they told Phil Jackson, there's a quote in there that Phil said, he got called into Jerry's office and said, you can go 82-0 and this is your last season. So
I know, but here's the other part of what I would say to that is it didn't happen. So this narrative goes back to what you're saying. You fired Phil Jackson?
Yes. At the end of the 90s. That's what this documentary.
After the 6 titles.
Yes. Yeah. This was after. So after the 5th, he wanted to move on from Phil Jackson after the 97 season. Jerry Reinsdorf stepped in and said, no, we're not letting Phil go. Jordan basically said, I'm not playing for anybody that's not Phil Jackson. So, and that's kind of what this whole thing was about. So they all knew going into 98 that was it. And that's where the rub with Jordan, Pippen, and all of these guys is with Krause is that they were going to blow this team up regardless of if they win the title or not. So,
right. I guess part of me goes, again, and without him being around, and it just seems like a piling on of a situation. And I would also say that, like, was Jerry Krause also kind of vindicated when, let's think about Phil Jackson after, like, his career with the Bulls, right? And honestly, like, he's now mocked. Like he's now kind of a joke in some ways, right? Because he went to the Knicks and basically destroyed he was a GM for the Knicks, right?
Hold on.
He's a joke now. He took who'd he take that was such a joke in the draft? Like Phil Jackson has become kind of a clown show since his time with the Bulls. So part of me is like, I don't know.
I need to call timeout. I need to call timeout real quick.
Lakers time, obviously.
Yeah. So right after the Bulls, he goes and wins 3 titles with the Lakers. Then he wins 2 more with them. So I mean, he won 11 titles as a coach.
Right.
The Knicks haven't been successful since Pat Riley left in the mid '90s. So.
I know, but I would just also say that it is interesting that no one has a golden touch. Like, I think sometimes we anoint these people. And we say that Bill Belichick, no matter where he goes, no matter what he does, no matter what he could do, he would be successful. A Phil Jackson, no matter what he does, the Spurs guy. Some people will say to ourselves that, like, sometimes it's just the right magic at the right time that allows these people to be successful. And when you have Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, and then you have Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, I don't know.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. Suddenly Andy Reid is an offensive genius. That's, and Belichick. Right. I mean, now speaking of Brady, I'm gonna segue to our first question. Okay. You ready for our first question? This is breaking news. Matt, what is your initial reaction to the news that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have traded for Rob Gronkowski.
Stupid. And all of this is a publicity stunt. I mean, to me, it's a way for Brady to get a last check, a big check. And it isn't necessarily a football check. It's going down to Florida and kind of selling his brand and his thing down there. And in Tampa, Gronkowski is the same story. When you look at WWE and their situation, I don't know. I just think, because I think, wasn't he going to do WWE now too? But then they
he was
that back down.
He was the host for WrestleMania.
Right. So I have, what I would tell you is this: if other teams are concerned about this, if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, then you should not be. And again, it's the NFC, but whatever.
It's just interesting that because we've talked about this too. About, I have this belief that guys like Rob Gronkowski and Andrew Luck are going to basically take sabbatical to where, I mean, they both were 29 years old when they retired. It's like Jordan's retirement. Like, basically, we're going to take now we don't know if there was any gambling issues with Andrew Luck or Rob Gronkowski, allegedly. Nobody knows if that's true, but, the timing matches. Anyway, they take a year off, and then they come back. A lot of these guys, they just need their body, mind, and mental state to heal. And I think that's part of
but
that's where I see with Gronkowski. And then I also see it being one of those things where he's like, well, I don't want to play without Brady.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, part of me would go, I don't know. That's just a weird scenario to me, because part of me says, yes, I would want to do that. I would want to play for my quarterback and the guy I've been playing with my whole career. And but part of me would go, I mean, I could prove myself separate from him, and I could make myself a good, because let's be honest, like, did you see Tony G's video, by the way? Tony Gonzalez's video that came out?
No.
Since then?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Is he coming back?
Oh, yeah. I'm assuming it's tongue-in-cheek, but yes, he has now announced he wants to come back to the Chiefs and run a 2 tight end set with Kelsey, and he's got video of him, like, training and stuff. Super funny. I think it's a joke for sure. But I also tweeted that he'd be a top 5 tight end if he came back into the league next year, which honestly I don't think is that far off. But bottom line is, I just think if you look at, so an example is Gonzalez, right? That yes, he doesn't have a playoff win, right? Like, I don't even think he had a playoff win in Atlanta.
He got one
with us.
In Atlanta. He never got one with us.
That's right. It was before him. Yeah, it was Keith Cash winning those in the 90s. So it just goes to show, like, to me, his talent, like, part of his Hall of Fame career, like, if you said, okay, he doesn't have much playoff success or Super Bowl, but he did, like, dominate with guys like, the most ridiculous quarterbacks that had no business, they couldn't barely throw the football, and Tony Gonzalez still got 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns every year. It didn't matter who they ran out there. So part of me goes, like, if I'm Rob Gronkowski, I go, if I really want to play, then I play for the Patriots. And I go, hey, Brady, who cares? Go to Tampa Bay, and we'll still dominate, and we'll still be good without you. So it's a weird scenario to me.
Yeah, see, I think Tampa Bay is going to be better than the Patriots. I mean, Brady now has a lot of weapons. Like, they had some really good wide receivers. That's a good one. And then you throw Gronk in there. He has weapons on par with what Mahomes has.
Okay, but I also do not believe. I truly believe that Father Time, man, is unfreaking defeated.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm not saying that
he looked pedestrian. He looked to me, and again, to me, Phillip Rivers. To me, what he looked like, and Phillip Rivers is the same story of a guy who just, again, listen, they can win you games, and we've seen that. If you have the right team around you, and especially if they've got some moxie and some, again, a guy like Brady, a guy like Phillip Rivers, people like that, they win you 7-8 games just because, again, they just have been But I just as a Super Bowl caliber playoff team type, like I just don't see it. I don't see it. Who's their coach? Who's Tampa Bay's coach now? That one little squat guy. Who is that guy?
Bruce Arians.
Yeah, Bruce Arians. Right. Yeah. That's the other part.
Took Arizona to the Super Bowl with Kurt Warner.
Right. Well, right. But again, I and this is like weird for me to say because I'm no Kurt Warner lover, but Kurt Warner in his time with Arizona looked to me 100 times better than Brady's looked in the last year and a half. But.
Well, we'll see. We'll see with the weapons. You ready for some of these questions? You got them in front of you?
I don't. Did you send them to me?
Yeah. All right. Oh. Good. Okay. Do I tell you what?
Good preparation.
This is gonna be fun. These were questions that were submitted. So what this is actually going to turn into is a Ask Matt Anything, and then maybe we'll turn this around next week when you have the questions. All right. Are you ready for number one?
Hold on. Which one did you send it to? The Gmail?
Yahoo.
Oh,
you want me to say? You want me just to give your email on this?
No, right, that's why I said Gmail.
Don't worry about it. All right, I got you. I'm gonna ask you these questions. All right.
Got it.
It'll be funnier for you answering them anyway, and I'll just chime in.
Okay.
All right. First one is a two-parter. What was the last public gathering you attended?
Wow. That's a really good question. See,
you want me to answer it? I'll answer this one. Then you think about it.
Okay. Yes, you go.
Okay. So my last public gathering was
I think I know.
Annikin's kindergarten musical. The
Nice.
music program at Little Blue Elementary, and it was just the kindergartners. And that was, March 10th, maybe March 11th. I'd have to look at a calendar, but that was the last public gathering. The last event, like sporting event type thing. Kara and I went to the AEW wrestling show in late February. Those were the last public events that we would have. So like public gathering would technically be Annikin's thing. And then I think like the last like event with thousands of people would have been that the wrestling show, which by the way is a damn good time. Great show. Can't wait for AEW to come back.
Yeah, I remember your pictures. Yeah, you guys seem to have had a really good time with that. That's what I remembered. Like if I weirdly remember your last public event almost better than mine.
Parade?
I think
would it have been the parade?
I mean, that's a maybe, but I think actually I want to say that her office party was after that.
Oh yeah.
But I could be wrong. I don't know.
Speaking of parades, did you hear how Patrick Mahomes saved millions of people from the coronavirus?
Yeah, because they didn't have a parade in San Francisco or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the timing of it? They would have had that parade right as it was starting to hit San Francisco. So they said that the Spanish flu in 1918, there was that Philadelphia became this like super spreader because they had a war parade, basically a war rally right after
completely accurate.
Yeah. Okay. Well, kind of along these same lines, who did you share your last non-quarantine meal with and where? So when was the last time you went out for food and it wasn't with, I guess two-parter. Who was the last person that you went to shared a meal with that didn't have the same last name as you?
Right.
Or, and then like, where was the last time that you went out for a meal?
Just so weird, right? Like to think of these things is really tough, and it hasn't necessarily been that long, but long enough. You know what I mean? I know we went out with Chris and his wife one weekend.
Shout out
And
to good friends of the show, Chris and Dana.
that's right. And we just been kind of homebodies, you know. Like I know, like I think honestly, the last time I've been in an establishment outside of here was your house.
That
Was
doesn't count.
No, I know that doesn't
Well,
count.
oh, you're talking about for the fight?
No,
Oh,
because
you didn't come for the fight, did you?
no for
Yeah.
our podcast.
Oh, with Dave.
Yeah,
The barbecue one, and the R&B.
correct.
Yeah.
So I'm almost 100% sure that's like, and I ate dinner with you guys. Was that the time I ate dinner with you guys?
You ate dinner with us for the R&B.
Right.
That was when coronavirus was all starting to hit.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking. Like the last time I really got out and about was right in that time, because we were just talking about it in that time.
Well,
yeah.
Like for me, it was with good buddy Levi Hart and John Bailey. We grabbed lunch. It was supposed to be I think it was the Thursday. It was supposed to be the Thursday of the Big 12 tournament.
Yeah.
So the day when all the good teams start to come in.
Right.
And we went to a pigwitch down there in the river market. You know, and that was like March. I think about the same. I think it might have actually been the same day that we did Annikin's thing, because I think I had lunch with those guys, and then had Annikin's program that night. And that was like when all of the NCAA tournament, all the big conferences started canceling their tournaments. Then the NCAA came out. Like this stuff went all so fast, which brings me to question number 3. How long ago did the Chiefs win the Super Bowl?
7 years ago. No.
It feels like 7 years, dude.
I know. Again, it is an incredible bit of timing though, because think about, like, I'll just give you a comparison. Liverpool, you know, they are a Premier League football team, right? Soccer team, and hasn't won the Premier League in 30 plus years. Okay. And they had a massive lead in the Premier League, unapproachable, basically. Like they would have had to have just, you know, a pandemic would have had to have kept them from winning. Oh. And sure enough, a pandemic kept them from winning, right? So, again, what a blessing that the Chiefs got this in some ways, and that the football season ended at the time that it did. Because could you imagine, like, this happening right after the Tennessee game, or right after, you know, I mean, again, like,
it would have been the most Chiefs thing ever.
Correct. How did it not happen? Again, it just goes to show you that Mahomes, and like, there's just a level of breaking of curses that has happened, because if it would have been anybody else and any other team, right, this would have hit in January, and right.
Well, the interesting thing too is, like, we had just finished our basketball season, like our little kids basketball, and we had like 2 weeks off. Like I think Annika went to maybe 2 or 3 soccer practices.
Yeah, soccer.
Like I've been keeping a list of all of the things that we missed with this, you know. So, okay, kind of switching.
That's an impressive list
gears.
before too long. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Switching gears here. This comes from Matt Mayhem 22 on Twitter.
Oh boy.
And I don't know. That when Mace Windu denies Annikin Skywalker the rank of master, did Annikin lack the credentials of a master, or was it based off of conflict? What does it take to become a Jedi master? The fuck?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This feels like, can we get maybe like, we need to get the children involved on this one? I got nothing for you.
Yeah, sorry, dude. Okay, yeah, we're just gonna go with he lacked the credentials of a master, and I think you have to be a little short green man to be a Jedi master. Sorry, Matt.
That's all I know about it. Yeah. I mean, that's all I know. And you have to talk to him.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this might actually, like, this wasn't submitted by that guy, but what is something you can't believe you had to explain to another adult?
Something that I've had to explain to another adult. Like I didn't add.
I'll take this one too.
Yeah, let me think.
Yeah. So this was a few years ago. Had cash and was paying cash for something, and my bill came to something 31, and I remember giving the person. I'm just gonna say it came to $10.31,
Right.
and I gave the person 20, like 20.31, and they like handed me the 31 cents back, and then proceeded to count out. Like they gave, like they put
Right.
like they typed $20 into the
So they even
cash
had a cash.
register.
They even had a cash register, and they couldn't pull it off.
Yeah, like they typed $20 in, and it said, you owe this person, $9.69, and I'd given them 31 cents to give me a 10 back, and they gave me my 31 cents back plus $9.69, and I was just like, hey, can I get like a 10? And they're like, oh, you don't have enough for 10, like your change is only $9.69. It's like, but I gave you 20.31 and my bill was 10.31, and like there was this kind of back and forth, and yeah, so
Yeah.
that was one.
Yeah, that is pretty rough. I'm trying to think of like. I'll tell you one that I tried to like. We had a big blowout at Fish Show one time where I tried to explain to these guys. Now, I was in no shape to explain this to anyone, and that was the problem. Like, I think people weren't taking me seriously because of the condition that I was probably in. Like, so we
So
went
you were stone cold sober, and everybody
of
else
course,
was
exactly,
medicated, and that's why yeah, of course.
100%. That's why they didn't want to listen to me. But I tried to explain to them. You know some of these stubborn friends that we have. They were there in this scenario. But it was like everyone, they literally shut down the festival because it was so muddy and people were getting stuck in the mud because it had been raining for like weeks before this festival at this area where it was at. And I tried to explain to certain people that will not be that will go unnamed, like you could either park right on this really high steep area to where you weren't in the mud and you were right by the road, or you could follow like now here's where it's hard because the people that were flagging it, like the parking people, there's always parkers that are trying to park
Yeah,
you into these places. They were telling us to go to another place. And I said, no, let's not listen to these people because they're gonna pull us into a really big mud pit right over there. And let's pull over by the road. And we had a big long drag out fight about this for about 3 hours, and I did not win. And I and we didn't get stuck, I will say that, but the people right next to us did get stuck. And I actually didn't park. We had two different vehicles. I parked my vehicle by the road and I didn't get stuck, of course. So yeah, that's just one that pops into my head. But yeah, there's a lot of common sense things that it's gotta pop into my head. I should, yeah.
all right, next question goes back to next week or last week's, our Tiger King well
Oh boy.
received episode. If you had to cast the Tiger King as a movie, who of your friends would play Joe Exotic? Got to be somebody like can't be like, oh, I think that. I know like Dak Shepard's thrown his name into the hat, but or thrown his name
Yeah,
into the ring, but
that's no fun.
who's
Person,
Joe Exotic amongst our friends?
the person that I know that owns the most animals is the person that was on that episode actually is Matthew May. So part of me wants to go to him. Now, like, I don't know. I think other friends that we have could fit the bill as well. But yeah, I could see May as the Tiger King for sure.
All right, Matt May.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's,
What do you think?
yeah, I mean, I think I could. I think May's going to have to work on the hair, but we can do that in makeup. Um,
True.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It isn't going to be a resemblance thing. It's more of a dealing with wild animals in their households or things like that. The only person that I could see riding shotgun with a tiger in my life would be Matt May. Like that's the
yeah,
only person I know
yeah.
that
And
could happen to.
I'm struggling on this one. To be honest with you, I can't really think who
Those are
amongst our
tough.
friends would
Joe's a
be
tough one, right? I think.
Joe Exotic, because there's like he's just such a unique character. I'm sure there's somebody I've come across in the pro wrestling world that is probably definitely
I mean, looks
Joe
wise,
Exotic.
yeah, looks wise, he's got like a Jake the Snake look to him.
Yeah,
Like he's kind of got a Jake Roberts look.
yeah. I mean, because the thing is, like a lot of pro wrestling, it's carny. Joe Exotic, he's carny.
Of course.
Like just uh,
I think the Phil
the
in some ways too, like driving around that Camaro, and like
yeah.
I don't know, part of me, I don't know, probably also, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to say
We
too
also
much.
don't have too many gay polygamous friends. That's what makes it hard with mullets.
That's
Like
the that's
we have friends that are gay, we have friends with mullets, we have friends that are polygamous, but we don't have one
the
that's all.
combo. Right, exactly. Which again, that's why you make a TV show out of that guy, right? Because
That's
he's
right.
awesome.
Well, here's a fun question.
Oh boy.
So little background here. I have been Elle has been into Star Wars, and
Really?
yeah, so I'll probably bring her up for this. Mace Windu denies Anakin Skywalker. So she's been watching we've watched all 9 in order, 1 to 9. So
Wow.
starting with whatever the first one was. Like we didn't go Star Wars Jedi or Star Wars Empire Strikes,
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi. We went
Right.
1 through
The
all the way to
actual,
Rise of Skywalker.
sure, nice. The actual
And
chronological order of the
all
episodes.
along, every time that like Chewbacca's on, I'll say something like, "I'm a Mog, half man, half dog."
Right.
So, like when Jabba the Hutt came on, I was like, "Hey, it's Pizza the Hutt."
Yeah.
So,
Spaceballs. Yeah.
the question: Spaceballs or Blazing Saddles?
Oh, for me, it's Blazing Saddles. Spaceballs is hilarious, and I think you have to.
So
Think
we're
you
trying to get Elle to watch Spaceballs. We're hoping to get her to do it tonight, but she's like pushing back on it. It's like Spaceballs is awesome.
Yeah, she will love it. She will absolutely love it if she gives it a shot. Yeah, because it is so goofy and silly. Now it's got some PG-13, humor and stuff. She might not even get some.
She's
She's,
13.
she
So
is 13 now.
she's 13. Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
incredible. So
Uh,
yeah, but no doubt. But yeah, that'll be hilarious. And no, for me though, as just a comedy and as like a cultural thing, like yeah, Blazing Saddles, but Spaceballs. Amy Mel Brooks is phenomenal.
well, I'm wondering about watching. Spaceballs because I don't think that Blazing Saddles you could play today. Like
Blazing,
they're just
Blazing Saddles would have a really hard time. But if you think about like Quentin Tarantino movies, right? Like there's a level of a lot of that word being used, and a lot of that stuff. So I mean, it's a different context. Trick
yeah.
is again, the trick is making sure again that you use it. If you remember, and very
It's up,
similar to what Tarantino does is only the villains use that word. Like only the dummies, only the bad guys, only the worst of the people use it. I'm not, it's an interesting,
well,
thing.
it's just the political correctness. I just don't know. It's kind of like we talked about Eddie Murphy Raw, and like you've watched some of those
It
movies
doesn't.
from the 80s. It's not gonna. But, what were we talking about? Like All in the Family and Red Fox and some of that stuff. So I'm Spaceballs on this one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I can't use the quotes from Blazing Saddles, and I can't. Every time somebody says sheriff, I automatically go to is near.
The sheriff is near. That's right. No.
Whereas like Spaceballs,
you can
you can kind of use a Pizza the Hut, and I'm a Mog, and Comb the Desert.
Gene Wilder, though, Gene Wilder to me just kind of puts Blazing Saddles over the top.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I get it.
As can be. This is what I should.
Right. Yeah, it's all. Again, classics.
Okay, I got some questions about our tournaments.
Oh boy.
Why did you guys leave out Char Bar?
That goes to the bracket development department, which I'm not actually on that committee. I don't think so.
Well, we fucking hate Char Bar. That's why. What do you think about that?
Exactly. I mean, that's right. Why beat around the bush? We're not into that hippie hip. We don't want that hipster ass barbecue. Yeah. Come on.
Or 100%. I just don't frequent Westport as much as I used to, and have not had the opportunity to.
Again, though, if Char Bar wants to send us free barbecue or wants to sponsor this wonderful podcast, then Char Bar will quickly go to my favorite barbecue.
Yeah, we probably need to, once this quarantine's over, we probably need to go pay a visit to Char Bar. Take good brother of the show at Living the Dream, Dave Pilcher, who will be on with us next week breaking down the NFL draft.
Amazing. Loving that.
Well, yeah, I mean, we want to get somebody that's got a high draft pick, that the draft is like the Super Bowl of their season, like where that's the highlight.
Love that shade.
Yeah.
Love that shade.
When I was working at we had a sharing call with another bank that was the bank of a particular football team when Community America was getting ready to be the bank of the Chiefs. And like we were asking, like, well, hey, what's this thing that you do? What are some of the best practices? And like, always have a draft party. The draft is always the best part of our season. We're always picking high, so people are like really excited about the draft, and
that would be some people's, and then they boo their pick, right? So that's like the other best part of it for them is that after they draft high, then they hate their draft pick, right? That's the next thing.
Yeah, it's kind of the I figured that there would be in the Last Dance some shade thrown on Sam Bowie, but I mean, they were just like, hey, Portland had Clyde Drexler. They're not going to take another 6'6" guard. They already had one.
It might not have worked there. There.
Drexler was really good in college too. Like
Drexler was a freaking stud. I was talking with some guys about 90s, players, and just, and late 80s players, he was a stud. He was good. Those Portland teams were good.
Well, we're getting down to the final few. I'm not sure if this is really a question, but
no statement.
You guys are idiots for not including Dragnet in your Tom Hanks tournament.
Dragnet.
Yeah.
Dragnet. Like Dragnet is a parody of.
Yeah, it was like a remake of the show. So that's also tied. That the submitter of that question is also tied to the submitter of the next question. So, what's the question that we always get whenever we get into one of these Ask Us Anythings? When is #FBP going to be a guest host? Yeah, you want to take it?
He would be a big Dragnet fan. Is that what happens in Dragnet? What are they looking for? I can't remember that. What do they call the group they're looking for? You remember Dragnet?
Oh, I remember. Yeah,
What was it
it was.
called? There was like a group that met that they were investigating. Dang
See,
it, what was it?
I thought Dragnet was more of a Dan Aykroyd movie. Like
Yeah,
Dan Aykroyd was definitely the main character. Like Tom Hanks
oh,
was kind of the
it was pagan, dude. Pagan.
pagan.
People against goodness and
Yeah,
normalcy. That's what
yeah.
it
What
was,
was
dude.
the? Yeah, and they kept calling that one girl. Her name was the Virgin. Blah blah blah. And then at the end, she's not a
Right.
virgin anymore. You know that type of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
do that.
Dragnet was a cute little movie, but it definitely there was. Listen, if you want to call us idiots for not putting some Tom Hanks movies in, maybe find something that's not Dragnet to hang your hat on.
It isn't
Because
Dragnet. That
yeah, because
one.
there was a handful that we probably could have been taken to task to, but I don't know about Dragnet being your. I don't know about Dragnet. You know, and that was
No.
something we didn't talk about. You know, Dawn was not pleased with our Tom Hanks bracket. Did I share with you the text about how she was?
Yes,
I'm
and
surprised she didn't bring it up last week, but it
and
sounds like she was trending more with you, where she was not
I feel
pleased about.
vindicated. Yes, I
Yeah,
feel very
yeah, she was
vindicated.
definitely Team Campbell with her hatred of Forrest Gump, which I don't understand. Like for you, I get it. I can understand why you don't like Forrest Gump, but she's so sweet, such a nice person that I can't see where her vitriol comes from.
Wow.
I
Okay.
mean,
Yes.
like that's your like it's not like you're not a nice person, but your thing is like you're a contrarian. Like you're over here talking about how Brady sucks, Gronkowski sucks, you hate Jordan. Who else was it that everyone
I
else
wanted.
loved that you
I wanted. I wanted to tell her that Ozark sucks. She said she just finished Ozark on Netflix,
oh
and I
see
was like,
what the
"Oh,
fuck is wrong with you, dude? Ozark is great. What is wrong with you?
see, there you go." So I do have a tendency, but I thought, hey, she's our guest today. We're not just sitting around hanging out. Like if we were just sitting around hanging out, I would have gave her total shit about
Oh
Ozark.
my,
But yeah, no, I do. You're right. But
Ozark is fantastic, man. That is some
Forrest,
good shit.
Forrest. But here's the deal on Forrest Gump. Again, Forrest Gump has what happened with Forrest Gump. He won that Academy Award in that year, which he shouldn't have. It was that Forrest Gump won Best Picture that year, which it shouldn't have. Like there was just a level of, and they play it. It's just so overexposed, and yeah, I think probably with me and Don, probably too. We do both have a level of wanting to be kind of on the cutting edge, and kind of on the and it's almost kind of cool now to hate Forrest Gump, and so I don't mind, like, but I'm jumping on that cool train.
You guys kind of get on the, like she was talking about on the Tiger King. Like I want to be an early adopter,
Right.
and then when all you basic bitches get in here, I'm off. I'm out. You know?
Exactly. I'm like, who cares about this anymore?
Yeah.
It ain't cool no more. I'm on
I
to the next thing.
love Forrest Gump. Oh, this is a great movie. Fuck Forrest Gump. That movie was shit.
Exactly. I mean, how much more fun is it to say that, right? Like, how much more fun is it to go, yeah, who cares
Well,
about Jordan sucks, screw the Bulls, yeah, like
yeah, there was the thing on Facebook a few weeks ago that I see. I have to keep you abreast of all the Facebook situations, but there was
Please
the
do. Thank you. I
it
appreciate
was
you
kind
for
of
that.
like 10 unpopular. Like you were supposed to list 10 things that are popular that you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I could probably do them for you, but like for myself, I don't know, man. Maybe I guess I am probably just a basic bitch. So all right,
You like the popular things, right? Yeah, that's
yeah,
okay.
I like the popular things. Except for, do you want to take? So we have two questions left. One is specifically for you. One is for me. Do
Okay.
you want to take the? Do you want the last question, or do you want me to take the last question?
Why don't
I mean, you are actually like getting associate producer creds on like legit YouTube sensation. So you're definitely the main event and the talent of this show. I heard it was actually renamed to Two C's with a Pod with Matt Campbell, and then like my name's like really small. Like I heard the logo's been redone to where your name is like, yeah. So
dude, you are
it's
the
like
executive
Matt Campbell, and then it's like Two C's with a Pod, Matt Campbell, and then like with Andy Kavanaugh. It's like it's crazy. So I'm gonna take my question.
Okay.
and then you get the last one because I think you're gonna rip. Mine is basically Becky in Nashville being mean to me. So her question is, you obviously had no idea who any of the artists or songs were from the 90s R&B tournament. Do you even listen to music? Well, first of all, Becky, the answer to your question is no, I don't. And if I were to listen to music, I'm going to listen to George Strait. I'm going to listen to Brad Paisley. Look at you, Matt. Why are you getting so upset, man? I'm going to listen to it.
It's so bad. It's so bad. I think, so you listen, you really do. You listen to like, you listen to podcasts mostly and like that thing. You don't really listen to it.
Yeah, I mean, like when I was driving in, like for the longest time, I listened to like sports talk, sports radio 810. Then I would listen to podcasts. I would listen to audiobooks. Yeah, so I mean, for the most part, when I was making my long commutes, I'd listen to St. John and Nate Bukaty, and then on the way home, you know, I'd probably listen to podcasts and audiobooks because, you know, Keatsman would just kind of irritate me. So
it's terrible.
Yeah, so
good riddance of that ding dong. But yeah, no, it's just interesting, you know. And again, it is when you kind of on my end, you know, I am such, you know, like music is something that is so ingrained in so much of what I do, and you know, like it is interesting, you know, someone who just really that's just not their thing. It's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if I want to listen to music, and honestly, the music that I'm listening to now is basically like what my kids like.
Right. No.
A lot of JoJo Siwa in my life.
Hell yeah.
The Lego Movie 2 soundtrack, which the interesting thing about that one is they've got that song "Everything's Not Awesome." I was listening to the lyrics of that, and I was like, man, this really hits right now.
Right, exactly. This
everything's not awesome right now, but that doesn't mean that it's hopeless and bleak. Man, this is deep.
Exactly. They knew what was up. Like they were prophetic.
All right, this one might stump you, and I'm smelling dinner. So this is the last question. All right, question for Matt. Which I don't understand why Mike from Valdosta didn't just ask you on the podcast. Maybe we were running out of time. In the Tiger King episode, you said you would vote for Joe Exotic over Donald Trump. Is there anyone you would vote for Donald Trump over?
Wow, that is a really good question. Like,
well, I think it goes back to at the end. We said, "Hey, Joe Exotic was running for office."
So funny.
Gun to head, you got Joe Exotic or Donald Trump, and without hesitation, you were like Joe Exotic.
I feel like, again, we talked about there are redeeming qualities of Joe Exotic, and he is a villain and he is a terrible human being. But I also think like there's two sides of things. As a social, like in the social politics realms, like I think he would actually do some good things. You know, like I think he was very much a social liberal, and I like the concept of being like a libertarian when it comes to certain aspects of things. So yeah, do I think he would do as much? Like I don't. He would do as much damage as Trump does. I would think it would be equal.
The question is though for today is.
I know.
Is there anyone that you would pick? You know, obviously I would imagine within reason that you're probably not going to say like a Jeffrey Dahmer or somebody like that, but like, you know, someone within reason.
Yeah. Like someone
maybe,
who could be president.
Well, let me lob some names out to you.
Okay.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah, that was the one that popped in my head because we had just talked about him. I would probably vote for Michael Jordan. I would vote for Bill Belichick.
Okay, Brady.
I mean, Brady is kind of MAGA. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
What
He's
about
a little
Annikin Skywalker?
who
Darth
eventually
Vader?
turned to Darth Vader. I mean,
I don't
that's
know,
really
man. I'm looking at my piece of paper and I saw Annikin Skywalker on here. I just thought,
perfect. No, I mean, believe me, I've made jokes that I would rather vote for like Voldemort, yeah, or yeah, some of these fictional villains over Trump. Yeah, here's the only thing I will say to you, Andy, and at least in some ways, my dislike of him is pure and it's long standing and it's way before the politics side of things. Does that make sense? And you're probably the one person that can vouch for me on that. This really isn't something that just popped up because he became the Republican presidential nominee and then became president. Like, I hated him. He was like one of my top 5 hated dudes before he ever ran for president. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So
yeah, I
it's
mean, you took me to task on multiple occasions for watching The Celebrity Apprentice, which I still argue was a damn fine show
I know.
and
I
good
know.
entertainment.
I'm
And
not proud of those moments. I'm not proud of those
and
times. Yeah, because
the Trump kids are good people.
that is hard for me to
I
swallow.
always appreciated Don Jr. and Ivanka. Oh, what about Vince McMahon? Would you vote Vince McMahon over Trump?
Yeah, because again, I think Vince McMahon is a smarter human being overall. Like, I think Vince McMahon, see, that's part of it too. I don't find the president to be that intelligent. I don't find his motives to be correct kind of motives. So, like, every check that you can have against a human being is
So
like he's got for me.
so
It's
is this
hard.
are we at the point where there is no one that you would vote? What about Don Jr.?
Uh, no, only maybe because yeah, I
Kushner.
just
Let's see. What about Kushner?
any of the current Republicans I would rather have, dude. I would rather have Mike Pence. I would rather have probably Jared Kushner or even probably his daughter or his son, probably. I worry about his mental stability at this point. Like, I don't want to, I don't mean to be, I don't, that's not fair. And I don't think it's right to like, but I'm concerned at his mental acuity. And yes, so Ivanka and Don Jr. and some of those people, at least they have young minds and
Yeah. Well, I mean, don't worry. You'll get them in 2024 and then
uh,
2032, depending on how they stack it up. So, all right,
sickening.
man. Well,
Sickening.
I don't think we're going to get an answer on this one. Sorry, Mike and Valdosta. The answer to your
Oh,
question is no one.
let me think about that. I do need some time on that because I know there are people in the world that I like. John Elway pops into my head that like it would be hard. It would be hard to vote for John Elway. Like, if you put him on if you put John Elway and Donald Trump on a freaking ballot, that would be tough for me. Um, yeah. So there's people out there.
Yeah,
I got to
but
think
just
about it.
okay. All right, you do that, man. We'll catch up with you and Bronco fan Dave to see how he enjoyed the NFL draft.
And remind me when that is. That's Friday. No,
Thursday, first
Thursday.
round Thursday.
And they're doing it all remotely and all Zoom and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. I heard that there was a lot of snafus on their mock draft.
Of
Like,
course, it's crazy.
like there was something with a connectivity issue glitch before Cincinnati even got their first pick in.
It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And there's going to be every hacker in America and all over the world is going to be on it too. Like, that's going to be a nightmare. It could
Yeah,
be
when
funny. It could be funny to watch because my guess is some ding dong's going to pop in there like and throw his junk or something, almost guaranteed.
it's kind of like you ever heard Cameron Jordan? You know, the really good Saints player.
Yes.
He got drafted in the first round, and then like 2 rounds later, he gets a call from. So New Orleans drafts him. He flies in like the next day, you know, doing all the meetings and stuff like that. He's in meeting with his defensive end coach, and Cincinnati calls him. Hey, man, we're going to draft you. He's like,
So
I've
they
already
didn't
been
even
drafted.
know.
And they're like, oh, sorry, man, Jordan Cameron.
Wow.
I had the wrong phone number. Yeah. So,
That's
yeah, I
amazing.
mean,
It sums up the Bengals a lot, doesn't it?
yeah, there was a list that came out of like what they can and can't eat, what they can and can't drink, what they can and can't wear, which is, to me that's kind of silly because like I get it if you're at the NFL, the draft site, if you're in the green room, but like, dude sitting on his couch, then you're gonna tell him like, hey, you can't wear, you can't wear that Adidas
It's freaking
shirt or
quarantine, man. He might not be able to get Gatorade and shit. We put
Right,
Gatorade on our grocery list, and we ended up with green apple, like sour green apple Gatorade or some bullshit.
It's Gatorade. Here you go. Enjoy it.
Exactly.
All right, man. Well, yeah, we'll do a little draft recap, and we'll see how somebody. This is the most important event in their season. How they take it, and then hopefully we'll actually have a season. So
exactly.
All right, buddy.
That's the next discussion.
Yeah, I'm gonna go eat, man. Good seeing you. We'll talk later. All right. All right. Be good.
See you soon.
See ya.
Bye bye.